Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon X and Y analysis video. Today's video is going to be all about the new Eeveelution Sylveon, so let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Sylveon is a Mono Fairy type Pokemon introduced in a Generation 6, and the 8th Eeveelution thus far to exist. As for its abilities, the first one that it gets is known as Cute Charm, which is an ability that allows Sylveon the potential chance to infatuate the opponent if the opponent happens to be using a contact move and also happens to be of the opposite gender. Now this ability unfortunately is very situational for it to activate, so from a defensive standpoint it's really not that fantastic. However, its other ability is pretty great, and one that is unique to Sylveon and Mega Gardevoir, known as Pixilate, which is an ability that turns normal type moves into fairy type moves and also gives them a 1.3 boost into the base power of that move, including the stab that is then taken into account because it is now a fairy type move. So it makes normal type moves extremely powerful on Sylveon and is a very good way to allow Sylveon to do some massive damage with all the normal type moves that it learns, as it does learn many normal moves from both the special and physical side. As for its stats though, it has some pretty fantastic defenses with base 95 HP and 130 special defense. However, its physical defense is very low in the 65 base area. However, this can be easily remedied because of the fact that you are so specially defensive that more often than not you will be putting the majority of your EVs on a defensive Sylveon set into your physical defense because you'll take special attacks extremely well regardless. As for its attacking stats though, it has base 65 physical attack, which is also not that fantastic, but it does have a really great base 110 special attack, meaning that Sylveon will definitely be able to do a lot of damage with any of the special attacks that it chooses to go with. And lastly, Sylveon has a base 60 speed, meaning that it is fairly slow, and I think it's actually the slowest Eeveelution so far, as none of them have had 60 speed yet. Many have had 65, but not 60. But either way, you just have to keep in mind that Sylveon will be in the lower speed tier of many Pokemon, so there will be a lot of things outspeeding it, and that's just something you need to keep in mind, whether you're using an offensive or a defensive set with this Pokemon. So for the first set in this video, we're going to start by showcasing what I believe to be the best way to run a defensive set on Sylveon. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a bold nature to increase its physical defense and lower its physical attack, and for the ability we can go with either of them. As for the EVs, we can put 208 into your HP, 156 into your defense, 96 into your special defense, and then the remainder 48 EVs in your speed. And what this will do will give you a very fantastic mixed bulk all around, allowing you to take physical and special attacks very well, while also giving you a little bit of a speed investment. Now I did a lot of testing with various EV spreads on this Pokemon, and this is the one that I came up with, which allowed it to take physical and special hits extremely well, better than any other possible spread that I have ever created for this Pokemon. So in my opinion, this is the way to run it, but obviously you can have your own, and you can run whatever you want on it, but I think this is a solid way to use a defensive Sylveon. But anyways, for the item, we are obviously going to be going with leftovers to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. But as for the moves, we are going to be first running the famous Wish Protect combination to allow Sylveon to recover its HP, as well as potentially recover the HP of its teammates, which can be very beneficial for teams that may have a Pokemon on low health, and you could Wish Pass off into that, get its health back up, and then you're free to allow that Pokemon to do damage to your opponent's team for the rest of the battle. But more so, it's there to allow Sylveon to keep its HP up. As to your main Fairy type attack, there are two possible options on this set. You could go with Moonblast, or you can go with Hyper Voice with the Pixilate ability. Now, Hyper Voice with Pixilate is a lot stronger than Moonblast because of the 1.3 increase in normal type moves when you do have the Pixilate ability, so that is something to keep in mind. However, Moonblast does have that really fantastic secondary effect of having a 30% chance to lower your opponent's special attack. So it's really whichever one you want to go with here, whether you want more damage in Hyper Voice with the Pixilate ability, or if you want that chance for special attack reduction with the Moonblast. So it's whichever one you feel like you would need for the Sylveon. Personally, being a defensive set, I think Moonblast works a little bit better just because it can allow it to take special hits even better, but it's, again, up to you. As for your next attack, though, and the final move on this set, we are going to be going with either Shadow Ball, Heal Bell, or Toxic, depending on the type of coverage or what you want this Sylveon to be able to do. Obviously, Shadow Ball is really great coverage in combination with Moonblast, and will allow you to hit plenty of things that would normally resist your Moonblast, thanks to Ghost types now being able to hit Steel types for neutral damage. But you could also run Heal Bell on the Sylveon to allow you to provide support to your teammates, obviously recovering any statuses that they may already received, or you could also run Toxic on the set to potentially stall out opponents with the slowly increasing damage that the poison will rack up over the course of the many turns that your opponent might be in. Also, this works extremely well in combination with Protect, as it will be able to effectively stall out toxic damage even easier. So overall, this set is just a very well-rounded defensive set for Sylveon to run that could either work as a Cleric and Wish Passer, or Toxic Staller, or just an offensive Pokemon that with some really great bulk. Up next, I have a dual screening set for Sylveon to run, so we're going to start this one off by giving it a bold nature to increase its physical defense and lower its physical attack, and again, we can go with either ability. As for the EVs, we're going to put 208 into your HP, 252 into your physical defense to max that out, and then the remainder 48 EVs again into your speed to make Sylveon a bit faster. And for the item, we could either go with Light Clay to extend the turns of our screens from 5 turns to 8, or Leftovers to recover a little bit of HP. But as for the moves, we're going to be obviously running the dual screens in the form of Reflect and Light Screen to provide you with some fantastic physical and special defensive support to all of your teammates, including Sylveon, allowing you to take attacks a lot easier. And along with that, we are going to be running, again, our main Fairy-type move for this set, which will obviously either be Moonblast or Hyper Voice, depending on if you want that chance for a special attack drop, or if you want a more powerful move. And then in the last move slot, we could either run Wish for some recovery, though we are not running Protect on the set along with Wish, so that is something to keep in mind. However, because of the screens being up, if your opponent does predict you to Wish Pass into something, there is a much greater chance they will survive that attack because of the screens being up and potentially receive the Wish a lot easier, which is something that's really cool about the set. And then we could also potentially run Heal Bell in this last slot to allow you to obviously heal off any statuses, or even Yawn as a potential way to allow your opponent to fall asleep and also potentially cause switches, as because of Yawn, the way Yawn works, they will get the Yawn and then they'll either switch or they'll fall asleep. So it could cause a switch and result in you gaining some momentum in battle in doing so, which is very cool for this set and could be very useful to give Sylveon some status utility in the form of sleep. Up next, I have a fully offensive set for Sylveon to make use of, so we're going to start this one off by giving it a Timid Nature to increase its speed but lower its physical attack, and for the ability, we're going to be going with Pixilate. As for the EVs, we're going to put 4 into defense, 252 into special attack to increase your special attack to its maximum capabilities, and then 252 EVs in your speed to also max that out as high as possible along with the Timid Nature. And for the item, we could either go with the Choice Scarf to increase our speed by 1 stage while locking us into a move, a Choice Specs to increase our special attack by 1 stage while locking us into a move, a Life Orb to allow us to use all of our attacks freely and getting a nice damage bonus on all of our attacks, while also giving us a 10% recoil every time we do hit an opponent, or an Expert Belt which will increase the damage of all of our attacks that hit our opponents for super effective damage. As for the moves though, the first one we're going to be making use of on the set is going to be our quote-unquote Fairy-type move, as obviously these are normal-type moves that are becoming Fairy-type moves because of the Pixilate ability. The first option that we have here is through Hyper Voice, which is obviously going to be your most reliable and strong special Fairy-type move, but you could also go with Echoed Voice, which functions extremely well on the set due to the boost in power Pixilate gives it. Now, Echoed Voice, if you don't know, is a move that increases in base power every single turn you use it consecutively. And what this can do over time is turn this move into an incredibly powerful special move that will be able to just rip through anything that comes in contact with it. Now, a Choice Scarf set is the perfect way to make use of this move, as it will boost Sylveon's speed to a very high power, allowing it to outspeed a lot of things and accumulate Echoed Voice boosts and allow it to essentially sweep a team late game. However, you do need to keep in mind that with its only base 60 speed, there will be still plenty of things that can potentially outspeed it very easily, so that is something just to keep in mind. Also, the ever-present Bullet Punch from many Steel types will shut you down completely if you do not keep that in mind, so that is just something to worry about when using the set. But obviously Hyper Voice or Echoed Voice Obviously, each one has its own benefits or drawbacks, and it's whichever one you want to go with. But along with our Fairy type coverage, we are going to be going with Shadow Ball to give us a way to hit Ghost and Psychic types for super effective damage, as well as give you some good coverage overall with your Hyper Voice. And then we are going to be running a Hidden Power in the form of Hidden Power Ground or Hidden Power Fire. Hidden Power Ground obviously being able to hit the 3 types you are weak to for super effective damage, which is always really great, but Hidden Power Fire also gives you some more consistent coverage over Steel types that aren't named Heatran, because they will generally be able to hit them all for super effective damage, except I guess for Empoleon as well. Maybe there's others, but that's just the ones off the top of my head. And then for the last move slot, we are either going to go with Draining Kiss as a way to give you some reliable recovery in the form of an attack, Baton Pass as a way to gain switch initiative, similar to the way U-turn works, however this doesn't do any damage, or either Wish or Heal Bell in the last move slot to give you some nice support to your teams, which isn't something you should completely not consider on a offensive set like this, as you can still provide team support through either ridding other Pokemon of status through Heal Bell or healing HP, and obviously the Wish can be used even more effectively on a set with Life Orb or Expert Belt, as you obviously aren't locked into that move, so that is something to just keep in mind when using this. But overall, this is just a really great, solid way to run a fully offensive Sylveon that is capable of doing quite a bit of damage to your opponent's team. Next, I have the first of 2 boosting sets for Sylveon to run. So we're going to start this one off by giving Sylveon a Bold Nature to increase its physical defense and lower its physical attack, and again, we could go with either ability. As for the EVs, we're going to put 208 into HP, 252 into your physical defense to max that out, and then the remainder 48 EVs into your speed to make you just a bit faster, and for the end, we're going to be going with leftovers. As for the moves, we're going to be running the Substitute Calm Mind combo to allow Sylveon to get behind a protective barrier to not only shield it from attacks, but also statuses, and give it a safe place to set up Calm Minds behind, which will be boosting your special attack and special defense by 1 stage each time you go for it. And then your main moves to make use of with Calm Mind are going to be Moonblast or Hyper Voice as your main Fairy type move. Again, Moonblast can be used because of that 30% chance to lower your opponent's special attack, which will in turn potentially allow you to very easily live special attacks with your substitute still intact, which is something that can be very useful on this set. But you could also, in the last move slot, have a choice between Shadow Ball for coverage, Hidden Power Ground for coverage, or Baton Pass as a way to potentially pass any boosts that you have accumulated with Sylveon, or even just a substitute that you've set up with Sylveon, to another member of your team to support them even further. So this set can not only be a very offensive way for Sylveon to be used as a way of boosting its special attack and everything like that, but it also can allow your teammates to be supported very easily as well through the use of passing off any of stat boosts you have acquired with Baton Pass. And I really like this idea with Sylveon because it gives it not only some crazy bulk with the Bold Nature and the high HP and defense EVs, but also through the special defense boosts in Calm Mind, while also allowing it to be an offensive threat and also turn another member of your team into an offensive threat. And then finally, I have a physical attacking Sylveon to make use of, which you might think is crazy by the sound of it, but if you really think about it, Cursing Umbreon has been around for a very long time and is a very effective way to run Umbreon offensively, and these 2 Pokemon have the same base physical attack. So that's just something to keep in mind to make you a little bit more open-minded when thinking about using this set. But to start things off, we're going to give Sylveon an Adamant Nature to increase its physical attack and lower its special attack, and then we're going to be going with the ability Pixilate. As for the EVs, we're going to put 216 into your HP, 96 into your physical attack, and then 196 EVs into your special defense to give you some really good special bulk, which will work very well in combination with your ability to boost your physical defense on this set. And then for the item, we are again going to be going with leftovers as a way to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. But for the moves, the first one we're going to make use of, again, is going to be Substitute, but this time along with Curse, which will be allowing Sylveon to boost its physical attack and physical defense by 1 stage every time it goes for it, while also lowering its speed by 1 stage as well. Now, through a couple curses, your subs will be very difficult to break, and they already are difficult to break from the special side because of all the special defense EVs we're running, and it's just ridiculous high special defense. And this will basically allow Sylveon to now do some pretty good damage to your opponent's team while being safely behind a sub if it is able to have one up at the time. And the main attacks that you're going to be going with on the set is either going to be with Quick Attack or Return. And both of these moves are obviously boosted in power by Pixilate and given Stab to increase their power even more. And I just think it was thought it was a really cool idea to run a priority quick attack that is also a fairy type move, because what else can do that other than Sylveon, which is really cool. So I just wanted to kind of highlight that a little bit. But if you are able to get up a bunch of curses, obviously your speed is going to be very low, but with quick attack you can completely remedy that problem because you're just using a priority move. However, return is even more stronger, so that is also an option to go with as well. And then again, for the last move slot, we could either go with Baton Pass again as a way to pass off the boosts you've acquired to another member of your team. However, do keep in mind that this time you are also passing off a lowered speed stat, so that is something to keep in mind. So don't expect to like outspeed something if you're passing it off into one of your sweepers, because they will also have the lowered speed, and that's just something to be a little bit cautious of when using Baton Pass. But again, you could also go with Return in the last move slot if you go with Quick Attack in the first one to kind of give you a mono attacking set with priority, which is very cool. Or you could run Bite in the last move slot to give you a dark type coverage move to allow you to hit some other things super effectively, and also give you some really good coverage in combination with your fairy type attack. So this overall is a very unique way to run Sylveon, and very cool because you would never ever see a physical one unless I probably showed you this set, and it honestly is very effective, similar to how Curse Umbreon is. And one also fun thing to point out is that Sylveon actually has access to Flail, and a Pixilate boosted Flail is actually the strongest physical attack in the game, which is ridiculous. So that's just something to point out. And obviously, they gave that to a Pokemon with not fantastic physical attack. But that's just something really cool, fun fact. But anyways, everybody, that is it for this video. So I wanted to thank you all for watching. Feel free to follow me on Twitch and on Twitter, and also bookmark the database in the description that will have all of these Sylveon sets, as well as every other set that is in the Pokemon X and Y analysis series. And also feel free to join the Zat at zat.com/pokegrounds, which is where you can easily find battles with other people, chat, and trade about Pokemon. And of course, I would also be terrible if I did not plug my own tournament. So switching over to that slide right now, my Master of them All Pokemon tournament number 2, a mixed region monotype tournament, is going to be coming up in 2 weeks on December 21st. It is going to be Saturday. It will take place at 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time. So I hope you all attend. It will be on Pokemon Showdown in the tournament's chat room. That's where you're going to find all your opponents and everything. And lastly, you can obviously watch this on my live stream at www.twitch.tv/Rykard3. So if you have not registered for this now and you are interested in it, please click the screen, as it will take you to the video where I basically explain all the rules and everything. But I will also post the link to the tournament itself in the description, which will have the place where you're going to be able to sign up for it. But anyways, I hope to see you all come out for that, and I hope you enjoyed this video on Sylveon. That is it for this video, everyone. So as always, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.